Stop using the claimed positive identity of being a very self-aware person, a very introspective person, to just be passive and use it as an excuse to not really go after anything that you want. Okay, so welcome to Just Bossing Around. You can call me Jay, and today we will be talking about self-awareness and how you might have possibly understood it wrong. Okay, so when you think of a self-aware person, what do you think of? Do you think of like a therapist, right? Okay, like just envision this. Okay, a therapist or someone who's just like a therapist, right? Like very emotionally intelligent and stuff like that, with a little bit of a people pleasing tendency, right? Like they would rather stay in the back and like be really passive and like, introspect like everyone and analyze everyone and like not really step forward or lead anything. And let me tell you, that is not what self awareness is. So, like a few years back, when I was just getting into self improvement, I made like a grid in my journal with like four spaces, right? And one was named strength and one was named weakness, and I kind of forgot what the other two was. So on the weaknesses part, oh my goodness, I had a lot to write. Okay, like everything that I thought was a flaw about myself was in there. Okay, and when it came to the strength, I was like, I don't even know what like I'm doing anymore. Like I don't even know what is a good thing about myself. So the strength was like full of hope that I can do this. I'm confident that I can do this. Like the strength part was like all hope and confidence and like just me being like a really kind, accommodating person. And now when I look back, that wasn't actually self-awareness. That was just me being self-critical. But realizing that I don't even know a strong point about myself was like, a turning point in my journey. So, a self aware person, right, like according to research, happens to have better relationships and is a better professional. They have overall, like, better personal and professional life in general. Okay, like they're happier people. And when you think of a self aware person, like how I mentioned before, like a person who is extremely adjusting and extremely accommodating, you can really imagine them being like truly happy because like they are shrinking themselves all the time. And so this ideas like these ideas go against each other. So you can see how being self-aware does not equate to you being extremely accommodating or adjusting. And so, like this is part of the reason why we kind of want to, turn away from being called or like being perceived as like a self-aware person, because you think that is a bit more passive and that is like, a bit more of like an energy where you let people like walk all over you and like you just want everyone else to like be comfortable and like have a good time on everything, and you would shrink yourself however much like someone else wants you to, because just you're just so self-aware, right, and like just so adjusting so that everyone else like can be really happy. That is not self-awareness. Okay, that is you punishing yourself like for what? I don't know, just being you, or like punishing yourself for having your own needs. So in this research, 95% of people were like saying that they are self-aware, and among these only 10 to 15% of people was like actually self-aware. And so the researchers asked them like to write about their approach to self-awareness. The word why, right, because like why is a very introspective, more like a philosophical word. Okay, the word why kind of appeared like 150 times, but the word what appeared more than 1,000 times. And so the idea of it is that instead of trying to find meaning in everything, what you should actually do is ask yourself what you can do to make your own circumstances better. That is a self-aware person. Let me give you like a few examples. Okay, so there was this professional and he was working with a boss who was like a polar opposite of himself, right? Like both of them had like very different personalities and very different approach to work. And so instead of being like, why is this person acting like this, and like, why is this person the complete opposite of me, this doesn't even like make any sense, because obviously like when someone else is like the complete opposite of you, you kind of don't really understand how they live life the way that you do, like a very natural response. But instead of dwelling on that why, he started asking, what can I do to show them that I am exactly what they need, right? Like to work with. And so he has a very good relationship with his boss, regardless of them being two completely opposite people. Thus, breaking the stereotype that you can really work with people who are like the polar opposites of you, right? To give you another example, there was this woman who had like breast cancer, and when she found out, she was like, why me? And instead of that, like, she shifted it later into what is the most important thing to me. And so she started focusing on what is more important to her, which at her time was like her relationships in her life. And so she started pouring so much energy into that. Guess what? She's now cancer free. Yeah. And so a self aware person has a better personal and professional life in general, and they tend to be happier people. So, do you see how the idea of a self aware person that I mentioned in the beginning, like of someone being like extremely accommodating and adjusting, kind of directly goes against the idea of like being happy? Because you can be like happy all the time if you are always accommodating and adjusting for everyone. Like, no, that's not a happy life, and that is not a good place to be in. And so for you to be self-aware, there are a few things that you can do. One, start naming your feelings. Like when you feel something, like say for example, you are feeling anxious, try to recognize it, right? That will help you get out of your own head. Be like, okay, I am feeling anxious right now, and the reason why I am feeling to get into my, flight, fight, freeze response is because I feel anxious. Okay, so one, start naming your feelings. Next thing, for you to actually shift your whys into words, or most of your whys into words, here's how you can do it. So once in a week, grab your journal and list out a few sectors in your life that you think you're failing in. So this could be something like a hobby, this could be your relationship, this could be your relationship with yourself, this could be anything, okay? And list out a few things that you can do to make it better, and pick a very few things in it, okay? Like one or two things that you can work on. So don't overwhelm yourself like and give yourself a lot of things to do. Pick like very small one or two things, and then try being consistent with it. Okay, and then you see some improvement in that area of your life, take out the journal again. Okay, and then start implementing other methods that you have listed. Okay, with that we've come to the end of the video, and I will see you next time. So bye.